Recording's going. I'm back. Hello, everyone. We have new people in the audience on this Graze. This is a very special mid-week, bi-weekly, bi-week. I'm going to call it like Graze 7.5, I think. I'm Cogsy. We have Gerrit from Leviathan News and CurveCap. You still are on Leviathan News, right, Gerrit? Like, isn't that like your show?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's the People's Show.
It's the People's Show. Kind of like the People's Champ, like Paul Wall. Remember him?
I'm either too old or too young to remember that.
You're too young. And then we've got Panda on. Got Hawthorne. Oh, hold on, I have to bring him up. We have a bunch of new people on listening today. We got Meek on. He came back from his one-year trip to the home country of Ireland. We have KP down there. I'm going to leave him down there. He's not allowed to talk. We got MPC, who's a lot of people have been accusing of being a bot on FriendTech, but he's actually on the Discord call, which might mean he might be a real human. We had a little bit of action for you last night. Oh yeah, you got him?
PC68 frequently pays attention to the Leviathan News live streams every morning.
Have you ever heard him talk?
I feel like I have, but it's tough.
It was like one of those computer voice ones. It's like, hello, I'm NBC68. I am a real human.
Well, I mean, what, like, it's a philosophical question, right? If you're an NPC, do you count as human?
He's an in-game NPC. Okay, which website, or are you going to screen share at all, Gerrit, or do you want me to just leave the music on, like, super low?
Oh, you could do as you like. I could turn on video. I can keep it incognito. I'm easy.
Okay, did you have anything that you wanted to show us? Like any kind of, did you have a slide deck prepared for this?
Were we supposed to have slides prepared? Is this like a presentation? Am I getting graded?
Are you pitching a fund today, Gerrit? Do one of those ones where like you're pretending like it's just a chill call, but then you realize like halfway through that you're actually pitching a fund. Like you just kind of offhandedly mention the keyword, the buzzword, LPs. We always have to talk about LPs. And like they just like kind of calmly like insert that into the conversation, and then like it's either a timeshare pitch or a fund pitch.
Well, let me tell you about Curve Capital and how it can maximize returns for stakeholders.
We have a very short window that is open. There's always a time window, like that you have to be in a hurry.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. We close investments at 10:08 a.m. today, so you got to get
your wires are going to need to post before that. I've got people lined up. If you guys don't actually come up with the money, I've got it's a wait list. Okay, so do you want me to have like your website on, which the CurveCap website or the Leviathan News website? Like, where do you base out of right now? Like, what's your main spot?
Oh, good question. I guess if you get to my my Twitter feed, I link pretty much everything important from there. If it's not letting you do that, we could do leviathannews.xyz. That's an undersung hero. Oh, there we go, looking good.
I'm on like a burner incognito Brave tab, obviously.
Of course.
Harry Evil! We'll just leave this up.
Nice.
This is the first time I've seen this.
I occasionally see this getting reposted by some people who are definitively not fans of Curve. So that's an example of the power of memes, in my opinion.
Yeah, so you're stretching out across like multiple venues. Okay, Hawthorne's
not at all. Like I'm well aware of the fact that like being a Curve maximalist is gonna like silo me to this like corner of the internet. Fortunately, it's an amazing corner of the internet. Like the llamas, I get like the Leviathan people, I get the Curve people, the Convex, Stake DAO. Yeah, what a great place to be.
The FX guys from yesterday. Is that Aladdin? When we had yesterday or last week when we had the guy from Aladdin came on, or he was talking about the FX token that had just been put in onto the Convex platform.
Yeah, that was a K-Mets who's
K-Mets is like the main Aladdin guy, is he, or he's like the Aladdin like comms guy?
He's a part of the crew.
Part of the Aladdin
I don't know
crew.
exactly.
Okay. And we got Hawthorne on. He's got his mic fixed. Panda talked one time as he took a sip of his absinthe or whatever the fuck they drink. And then I've got okay, so now we can actually start for real. So I wanted to ask you, Gerrit, like, so I already kind of like hinted about it, but so is the Leviathan News thing like an everyday on like stream deal that you're doing?
It's every day, and we're looking at expanding it. In fact, so one of the people in the audience here is DefiAdvisor, who's been, a stalwart contributor to getting Leviathan off the ground in terms of our daily live streams. So you can think of the daily live streams as a bit like something like a daily show, where it's our flagship program. We are committed to bringing on guests. Llamas have been featured several times. Where possible, just talk about interesting stories or big topics within DeFi. But DefiAdvisor has been working together with OX Mughal Wajahat, who is I don't know how many people have come across him. He's absolutely brilliant. Used to be a doctor, and he left medicine to focus on cryptocurrency in the midst of the bear market. So people who do that have tremendous respect for me. Although I hope too many doctors don't end up moving over, because that would be a tragedy if the entire medical industry leaves to promote degenerate Ponzi schemes. But a few doctors who are willing to make the jump. They're all good people. They're working together on a great new show, which should be released sometime this week or next week.
That's awesome. Can you kind of talk more about what the premise of it is?
I actually haven't seen the very first one that was being recorded. It was recorded last week when I was visiting New York. So I was trying to catch myself in Times Square and missed the recording. So I don't actually know the contents of the first show. But my understanding is it's supposed to be kind of more instructional and educational in nature. Basically focused on people who don't know exactly what's going on within the world of DeFi and cryptocurrency, and doing much more extensive deep dives into actual topics. So maybe DefiAdvisor, who's here, actually maybe he could pop on stage and give a brief pitch for it. But generally speaking, this is the second show that we're kind of launching through Leviathan. We're hoping to get an entire suite of podcast / video entertainment related DeFi. So we have a few other concepts for fun shows we think would be fun to launch. And then by grouping it under the Leviathan banner, then we could do things kind of accumulate resources like advertising and production infrastructure, and be able to kind of federate that amongst all the shows.
Okay, so the main Leviathan show, is it recorded as a podcast?
It is. So you can catch it on Spotify, where you get the full HD. So back when we were walking on treadmills, you could really see us sweat when we if you're watching on Spotify.
Yeah, definitely got to see that. That's definitely my. Okay, so it's not on Apple Podcasts, right? It's only on Spotify.
It's not an Apple Podcast. It's on YouTube. It was for a time streamed through to Twitter and Telegram, but we discontinued that in favor of YouTube.
Yeah, I've only seen your YouTube stream. That's the one I've watched. I mean, obviously, it's up every day, so I can click on it and look at it and watch it. But then there's on Spotify podcasts for Leviathan. Okay.
Right.
And that's not curve. That's not curve centric. That's everything. Whatever you guys because I see DefiAdvisor constantly on Twitter. He's sees somebody talking about an interesting concept that's happening in crypto or whatever, and he's like, who can I get in touch with to get you guys on Leviathan News? He's always trying to farm guests for you guys.
He's great. He does a fantastic job of hustling there. So yeah, the Leviathan focus area, if we can call it that, it definitely has a very heavy curve focus. But it's not just exclusively Curve. So we get a lot of focus from kind of like other peripheral DeFi protocols. We believe generally there's like a blind spot towards this whole corner of our industry within DeFi. So there's a ton of attention and interest in this space that's not really being captured by some of the bigger podcasts. So it's this huge opportunity for a lot of us to tackle it. But if you look at the people who are like behind Leviathan, it's like myself. I'm a Curve Maxi. Sam is a Frax maximalist. DefiAdvisor is an Allowed and DAO boost. So our DNA is just incredibly interwoven with the Curve community.
So it comes back to Curve a lot, but you guys are open to everything on that, on the main show, the main Leviathan news. Now,
Exactly.
in my email every day, I'm fully doxed obviously to you because you have all my email addresses. I get your letter. Is that daily or is it biweekly? I'm not sure how often it comes in.
Yeah, that is 5 days a week. That's exclusively focused on Curve content. So because we have Leviathan, which is able to cover all the kind of like peripheral interesting things in DeFi, like that gives me much more focus on my newsletter to just really tackle all the updates around Curve. And sometimes they're interesting to me, but not interesting to a broader audience. So earlier this week, I was like, or was it last week? I was doing like a lot of like more in-depth, like kind of unpacking of some of the like tri-crypto governance attempts at like tweaking the parameters. Like these are things that I find fascinating, but like maybe most people wouldn't find it interesting to talk about like how the phi gamma and gamma parameters are shifting.
Yeah, so just a quick question. As you guys move away from just being like a singular show and like more into being like a channel or like a broadcast network or a podcast network, what is your balance between like add like really a niche OG content and kind of content to help educate the new generation?
It's a good question. I think we're gonna just be very focused on what's actually working in terms of like what resonates with the audience, which we've gotten about 6 months almost of live streams under our belt at this point, and if you've been following since the beginning, you probably noticed that our show has evolved a lot. So some things we try work, some things we try don't work, and we're very, very reliant on feedback from the community to kind of keep iterating and keep tweaking it towards something that we find works really well. Like, for example, this past week we've been going really in depth in terms of like Arbitrum. Like there's been a lot of DeFi protocols have been applying for Arbitrum grants, and the whole process has been a bit chaotic. So there's been a lot of protocols that have like been interested in weighing in on that, and there's been a lot of just frankly like user interest in how this process goes. So we've been really focusing on that. But this is just an example of how this came as a direct result of the feedback from users. So we're also like selfishly trying to get it to 1,000 followers on YouTube. So if you can head to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Once we get above 1,000, then we can actually be eligible for YouTube's monetization program. And it'll probably last like about a week before we get demonetized, but let's enjoy it.
Yeah, so how do you guys like I know there's a lot of metrics, a lot of KPIs out there to optimize content around. How do you guys choose what you care about and what's just noise?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and this is sort of at the heart of like where my interest in Leviathan is. Not everyone sees it unless you're in some of the Telegram groups connected with us, but there's a pretty extensive technology platform being built out behind the scenes on Leviathan. So the Telegram channel on Leviathan for the news headline alerts is entirely crowdsourced. We have got a few different Telegram bots within a few different channels where people can post and we have the ability to kind of like automate the QA process of these headlines, supplemented by some open AI integrations. And I'm looking very much at kind of like expanding and building out the technology underpinning this bot, because it tells us a lot of really interesting information in and of itself. Like we built out within this like a ability to like track which links are getting clicked on. And this is a really good proxy for knowing like what users care about and like what information is important to the audience. So if we post headlines and it doesn't seem to resonate, like we know that if we post headlines and it does like goes super viral because people are sharing it and people are reading it and people are clicking on it, like we know that. And we're starting to unpack the trends through the data we've collected. Like we've got about 2,000 headlines in the books at this point. And from that, like we see like, I don't like talking about like regulatory stuff, but people really care about it. Like when the SEC slaps down some small defenseless protocol, that tends to spread pretty far. People like a lot of the stuff that happens on governance forums, which I think might just be the case that like no one else is really talking about some of these like really interesting governance debates. So there are topics that resonate more, and there are topics that like just don't really go anywhere.
Yeah, like you could probably make a show just out of telling people what's happening in the governance forums that people are never going to read, right? Like the average person's never going to be able to go like dig into the stuff that you're posting about. Like you can create content by simply doing research and then reporting back to your followers. It's really it's nice to see you posting that stuff, because I mean, even I get stuff from your letters that I would never read if I didn't if you hadn't like produced it for me.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing, because if you've been around the crypto space since any amount of time, like before 2020, crypto was boring, right? Like it was Bitcoin maxis rehashing the same arguments against Ethereum maxis, and it was just not interesting. And something really flipped around 2020, 2021, where now there's more information within all of cryptocurrency than anybody is able to process. And it's exhausting, right? We haven't solved this information asymmetry. And it hits the like smaller protocols a lot. Like even Curve is like bigger than most protocols, and at Curve size, like information about Curve has trouble busting through all the noise. Like Curve releases Curve USD, which is like 0-to-1 innovation in stablecoins, and you look on like crypto social media and people are just talking about Mitch's house. It's like that's completely not related to any of the stuff that's happening.
Oh God, Mitch's house
penetrating the noise. Yeah,
the biggest leap of stablecoin tech in the history of crypto. And what are we talking about? His loan on AAVE. Okay, I have a note about that.
As much as it's a problem, I think it's also an opportunity for all of us who are paying attention to it all. Like it'll like the market will let it notice at some point. It might not be today or tomorrow or 3 months from now, but
100%. I completely agree. It's when bad information is like being spread to like the mass populace, if you follow these niches and you kind of understand like what the actual story is that it is not getting out, that's alpha, right? Like that is an advantage, an information you have relative to the rest of the market. And in some cases, like these trends do eventually correct. So not financial advice, but if you like actually like follow and delve deeply in this, like there is alpha just from your knowledge.
Remember the trade that we made with Convex, Gerrit and Hoth both. Like Visconti's term that I always thought was funny about our Convex run back in 21 or whatever it was an information arbitrage is all we were doing. That was we were extracting the alpha of the spread between the posted APR on the website and then the Vodium or the bribe APR, and we were just calculating that in our heads or on Vodium, and then we were buying CVX in front of that, knowing what the actual APR was. That was it. It was information arbitrage. So you can do that in a lot of different parts of the Curve ecosystem in the coming bull market, if it ever comes. Gerrit, Is this forever? Are we going to just be in a grindy, sideways bear market for the rest of my life? Because I'm not sure how many years I have left in me.
So I've been throughout this bear market. I've been mostly staying in stables, presuming it was going to be a fairly long bear market. But over the past like couple of months, I've flipped on that and I've started like migrating slowly from stables towards crypto again. So my personal philosophy, not financial advice, is that the bear market is likely to come to an end within the next 6 months to a year, and I'm allocating capital accordingly.
But by stables, are you also implying CRV USD? I mean, there's been great farming opportunities around recently.
Yeah, and in particular, like I have some like Bitcoin left over, which has always been like the worst asset for DeFi because it gets like 2% returns. But I think that like CurveUSD is probably the killer use case for Bitcoin and DeFi. In that, like, you can pretty easily convert, your satoshis to CurveUSD, and then use that CurveUSD to farm. Where in some cases, like, you can get like for short periods, like 30%, like incredibly good yield. And if you're like too aggressive and bet wrong, fortunately, like the soft liquidation mechanism is friendly enough that you're probably not going to lose, like too much necessarily, depending on like how you allocate.
I'm going to put that on a
great
post.
take. That's a great
CurveUSD.
take. I love that.
CurveUSD is the killer use case for Bitcoin, for wrapped Bitcoin.
And I think we're kind of seeing it. Like, I think I haven't checked lately, but I think I saw something about how like WBTC. Okay, no, never mind. WBTC is it's past SFRAX ETH by a significant margin. It's at 47 million total debt, with WSTETH at 53 million. So it's definitely rising the ranks, and the total collateral value of the WBTC market has actually flipped in WSTETH.
Are you picturing that these new Curve products are going to cause a EBTC to get some more adoption?
I hope so. So the bearish thing about Bitcoin on Ethereum is that it's just like there's very little Bitcoin on Ethereum, relatively speaking. Like WBTC is the largest, and it's something like 1 to 3% of the total like Bitcoin supply that's been posted onto Ethereum. So for whatever reason, like Bitcoin maximalists are not like willing or interested.
Where's the rest of it?
On Ethereum.
Just sitting on wallets doing nothing?
Yeah, sitting in wallets doing nothing.
God.
So
that seems like a huge opportunity.
It does, but you have to kind of consider the Bitcoiner ethos, which is very much like don't sell a single Satoshi. Everyone's trying to steal your Satoshi, so if you're
for sure, don't wrap it and put it on the other network.
Exactly.
Exactly. So, ETH is the devil, but you guys, the only way we can get yield is if we wrap it and put it on the devil's platform.
Right. So some people make that trade-off. I think ultimately Bitcoiners are gonna like get hit with reality a little bit, in that like the Bitcoin network itself has some problems, in my opinion. It's as great as like a proof of concept, but anyone who's used Ethereum knows that Ethereum is like superior. Like it's not even like close. So I think at some point like this reality is gonna set in, and the Bitcoiners are gonna like be forced to start like accepting reality a bit, and I think that could be like a big moment for Ethereum. I also think Ethereum is going to flip in Bitcoin at some point, but I am not as confident that's going to be in the next 6 to 12 months.
Hey, crazy noob question, Gerrit. I know you know the answer to this instantly. What's the counterparty risk with the wrapped Bitcoin thing? Is there like a group that runs that swap?
BitGo.
Yeah, so wrapped Bitcoin is. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, isn't the custodian still a BitGo, or did that change?
Yeah, it's unless something's changed recently, it's still BitGo, and then they authorize some people to be minters of it. So it's like it's not that good in terms of the decentralization aspect. That's where TBTC is also fairly interesting. So TBTC is much more decentralized. It's Chris Black approved or pseudo approved in terms of like the resilience of their decentralized infrastructure. EBTC is different completely in that EBTC is more like a lending platform. You post staked Ethereum, and I think you just post raw Ethereum and you get back Bitcoin, but then they stake the Ethereum and take the yields and use that to power the platform and charge no fees.
So is this kind of like try number 2 of what was their old one? Dig?
Dick?
So
Dig 2Gs. I think,
Got it.
yeah, that had like this weird like rebasing mechanism within that leave like it. So it had some issues.
Yeah, like when that first came out, I believe I was airdropped a little bit, and I was like, oh, this could be cool, and then it like promptly just went to 0. It's like interesting.
Yeah, which when you see stuff like that, you know why Bitcoiners are like reluctant to bridge over to Ethereum, right? Like the risk of things going to 0 to earn whatever % yield, which heretofore had been pretty low, like just not really worth the risk.
My show notes sheet, Hawthorne, is rapidly turning into a alpha drip from Gerrit sheet of stuff I'm going to actually go research. I was supposed to be asking him questions, not just like fishing alpha.
I mean, whenever you get the opportunity to talk, yeah, we could do that. We could try.
They're like very I think they'd be totally up for it.
Cool. Yeah, I think the last time I was like really tuned into a Badger, I think Gabriel Haynes was on their like community council or whatever. That was like ages ago.
I have to go back for a second to the to your letter and just get this marked off the list here, Gerrit. The letter is paywalled, right?
Which letter?
Your Curve Market Cap letter, the email one.
Some parts of it are paywalled,
and then you can get free version of that by buying your FriendTech keys, right? You know where this is going. I have a bunch of Gerrit FriendTech keys, Hawthorne. You know this already. There's a reason to my madness here. Okay, so if you don't want to have the paywall, you go buy the FriendTech keys. I loaded up right before the call on purpose. I should have told you, Gerrit. You could have bought a bunch of them yourself, too. This wouldn't be a llama Graze without me having some sort of backroom pumping that I have to do for my own personal bags. Okay, so we're done with the letter thing.
Recording this for the inevitable trial?
Yes, it is. Oh, man. But yeah, so would you like to? It's always fantastic to have you on because like I think you know like a lot about just about everything. But like we would love to just to kind of hang out and have you talk about what you want to talk about. Like I know there's a lot happening in Curve currently with like the sub DAOs and like Curve USD and that growth and ERV20s and the whatnot. There's also a lot happening in like the broader world with like ETFs and Mick Henry's the current Speaker of the House and the whatnot. What would you like to talk about today, Gerrit? Like Curve stuff, not Curve stuff.
I'm open to anything. I assumed the Graze was sort of like a casual party, like hangout type atmosphere. So I was assuming it would just be kind of like, hot hors d'oeuvres, light drinks and friendly chit.
Hope you like champagne at 10 in the morning.
Yeah, just one
of your time zones later. So it's 5 p.m. somewhere.
Yeah, I think we are max casual because our recording computer is in a closet so that we don't get any echoes. It's a pretty high-tech operation here. Okay. Yeah. I'm curious. I've been looking at Curve deploying onto Tron, and with the volume Tron does. What do you like? Like is all uh, volume a good volume in your opinion?
Okay, so a couple of questions here. I'll tackle them one at a time. As for like the deployment on Tron, I think it's a no-brainer. I kind of don't understand why it hasn't happened yet. So if you look at the biggest chains by TVL volume, what have you, like there's just two glaring places where Curve has not launched, which is Binance Smart Chain and Tron. And these are both like substantial amounts of users, substantial amounts of like potential access to like liquidity. I don't understand why it is that there hasn't been deployments there. Like I assume that there's something going on that I don't know, because like I'm pretty low on the Curve totem pole. So like if like for the case of Tron, for example, like obviously Mitch and Justin Sun are a phone call away, because when Mitch wanted to like basically raise his impromptu Series A, Series B round a couple months ago, he got like sent a Telegram message to Justin Sun, got a few $1 million just like that. So was there like some discussion between the two of them about like, hey, if you give me 10 million, I'll deploy on Tron. If you only give me 5 million, then I won't. I don't know. Maybe there's like some backroom dealing going on that I'm not privy to. It might just be that there's like some like technical hitch that's preventing it. So I don't understand the reasons why it hasn't been launched. But as my understanding is, Tron is fully EVM compatible, so it should be straightforward to launch on Tron. Is all volume good volume? Not necessarily. So there was a good thread by Cheetah late last year that was looking at like toxic order flow and how it hurts LPs, particularly on Uniswap. And that's kind of one of the issues that he was bringing up in this thread, is that not all volume is good volume. So yeah, I'd point people towards that thread for like the details about toxic order flow. But if like there's a certain amount of profits on the table, and when arbitrageurs take all those profits, they have to come from somebody. And in the case of toxic order flow, that's LPs.
Mm-hmm. What are you looking at right now, Cogsy? What is this?
Nothing. Don't worry about me. I'm not busy over here. This is one of my things I was supposed to ask Gerrit about, but then I crossed it out. It was a sub-DAO thing. Not going to bring that up. But I already made a joke about the AAVE loan. My favorite post that you did on Twitter about the mansion thing recently, Gerrit, was the people that all said that the AAVE loan was the problem. Then he repays the AAVE loan, and they're still mad because the debt still exists in a different place. Like it's like you can't make them happy. Like you pay the loan off, you have a loan at a certain interest rate that's not good, and then the fudders, there's like 100 comments that are like, yeah, but the debt's still there. Like what do they want him to do to make the fudders happy on on Twitter? I don't think it's possible to make them happy.
It's not possible, but thankfully at least that line of FUD has like kind of been blunted a little bit. So I don't exactly like understand. I try to. Like I would really like to know their perspective and know if there's actually genuine criticism there. So the last time it was going around, like I was just trying to like engage with some of the people who were like bringing up like the FUD around Mitch's mansion or whatever, just to like understand their perspective and see if like I was missing something. But the closest I ever got was when people like would write back. They kind of would acknowledge that there was no real existential risk to Curve from Mitch's actions, but they didn't like it because it was posing a threat to AAVE. Like hypothetically, in like the worst possible situation, you
Right.
could see a situation where like AAVE takes on too much bad debt and like collapses or death spirals or something, which would be tragic. Don't get me wrong, if that did happen,
But not technically our problem.
I mean, that's like the unspoken thing that like like to give you a peek behind the paywall. Like sometimes I don't want certain ideas to go viral, but like if you actually look at it, like that might have been the method behind Mitch's madness, right? As much as he likes working with these other DeFi protocols, if he kneecaps a hypothetical competitor to CurveUSD, like that's like a three-dimensional chess move right there. So anyway, I don't think that was his intention at all, because he of course is like a fantastic history of paying off his loans, but like people complaining that like AAVE bit off more than they could chew and somehow that's Mitch's fault just doesn't really make sense.
There's a short answer that I loved.
It makes
they
no
had
sense.
a chance. They had like a vote up. They had a governance vote to stop giving him any more debt, and they didn't pass it. Okay, but anyway, this is all done. The debt's paid off. So who are we fudding now?
Well, that's the beautiful part, is like this seems to like why it's blunted the criticism, is like even like these kind of like reptile brain fighters who just kind of like have this Mitch loan bad thing, like they can at least like somewhat comprehend the mechanics of AAVE, but they've never heard of Silo, right? They have not delved into Fraxlend or inverse finance, so they're not going to bother to FUD these because they're like too tiny.
The perfect plan. Okay, so Mitch posted in Telegram he wants CurveUS to be a 1 billion by Christmas. Was what he was hoping for. In your opinion, what is the best path to hit that?
So yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's a two-sided place a little, right? You need applications for CurveUSD going to entice people to mint it, and then you need a bunch of opportunities to be able to mint using juicy collateral. So I think you can get part of the way there by onboarding new collateral types. Like I see a lot of people asking for LP tokens to be collateral, and that would be great if it does happen. I don't know that it will. Certainly, like it doesn't seem like Curve, the token, is going to be used as collateral type. But I do think is like more like types of collateral that people would like to hold on to become onboarded as collateral for CurveUSD. It's going to help. But at the end of the day, like the thing that's actually going to move the needle is like a reason for people to mint CurveUSD. So far, a lot of this has been kind of like spurred on by Mitch, like directly incentivizing anyone who's launching new pools on Curve with CurveUSD. Like you kind of notice like even on Base and like all these other side chains, anytime a new CurveUSD pool launches, even if it's a token no one's really heard of, like Mitch will still like kick in some rewards towards it just to kind of get it off the ground. And this is like certainly juice the market for CurveUSD to get to 100 million. That being said, to get from 100 million to a billion, to do a 10x from here, like there needs to be a lot of compelling reasons for people to continue like doing it for yield farming, or continue doing it to, or any kind of like DeFi app you can imagine that might have utility for people that could use CurveUSD is going to like, if you build it, they will come.
Cool. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Like I can't wait for something like try crypto to be on the lending market. I think that will open up a lot of room. But yeah, to your point though, you need the apps, and you need that demand.
And try crypto. I don't know that try crypto would be the game changer people think, because if you have try crypto, Right. You have an LP token. You could sell that, and you could earn. Right now, it's like 25% yield. If you like trade that, if you mint CurveUSD against that, like CurveUSD is only earning like 20% at best.
Mhm.
Maybe, sometimes you can get up to 30%. So it's like most people might prefer just to keep it as try crypto.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great point. Yeah, for me, the only time I've ever been liquid dated my denominator went to 0 basically. So I'd love to have like a really firm ground, and I think try crypto counts for that. But yeah, with the whole there's a lot you have to look into it though before you start make these long term plays.
The thing you just mentioned about Mitch kicking in the rewards for the new launches, Gerrit, I had it kind of tied into my decentralization question that I had. Like, I have a whole section about that to ask you about. But do you see a way, like in the future, that new LPs on new chains could be incentivized through like a DAO vote? If there was, so you didn't have to rely on Mitch to be there to kick in rewards, like
Yeah,
a
but that's
like
what
a
the
bootstrap.
That's what the gauge system is for. Which that like once that goes through governance and like the Llama risk team has looked it over and approves, and people vote for it, then it gets emissions. So that's where ultimate state of all these pools that Mitch is incentivizing generally ends up. I think Mitch is just kind of trying to speed run the process by saying a week,
Right.
2 weeks, 3 weeks for governance is too long. He wants CurveUSD to succeed yesterday, so like he's just gonna like toss in some rewards to like make it happen a little quicker.
Yeah, just kickstart it a little bit. But
Exactly.
the governance process of the gauges will still be able to drive rewards to those pools as we vote for them.
Right, exactly. So that ultimately takes over. By the way, it's a great opportunity for any of the builders out there. Like I know we talked a bit about the llamas, and like if the llamas have any ambitions to launch a ERC20 token of any sort, be it a governance token or like a wrapped version of llamas, you could probably launch a llamas CurveUSD pool and expect some nice rewards.
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, I wrote that one down.
Not financial advice,
I-
but I'm looking at doing.
I put it under the NFA
Yeah.
column. I have a whole column that says NFA, and I'm just like writing that under that.
I think you only have
I'm looking
one column.
column, all financial advice.
Yeah.
I'm
Gerrit's
trying to build
financial
something
advice.
similar for the second largest Viper NFT project, which is the NPC NFT project. Trying to do something similar in terms of getting the
Mhm.
curve pool going.
Are you guys planning just to like a wrap or are you gonna like a wrap and try to be more like a liquid as well, like a meme coin kind of play?
So there have been. So I don't know if we'll end up doing this or not, but one user had a really interesting idea, which I'll go ahead and discuss here, just to like kind of get audience feedback, because I think it'd be fun to build, just if nothing else, to see like, just to like get the code base out there so other people could do what they want with it. But basically, the idea was like a current meme. Like I support the current meme coin themed token. So essentially, you launch an ERC20 token, which every time it's transacted, there's a small tax applied to it. And that tax goes towards basically buying whatever the current governance votes is the current meme coin. So this month, it would take all that money, buy, let's say, Dogecoin or Shiba Inu or whatever the current flavor of the month is, and it would just have a mechanism for airdropping that to all the people who held the token.
Oh, cool.
So
And
that's
then
something that
like
someone from the community pitched. I thought that was a brilliant idea.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then the community can kind of choose like a which one they want airdropped. Is that kind of the
Exactly.
how it completes the circle? Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a lot of fun. I wonder what
It doesn't look like it's going over well because Clones Cody writes it's so over in response to the idea. So maybe that was a non-starter.
I know. I was waiting for somebody to mention like espresso or something in the chat.
LINQ?
Yeah, maybe, right?
I'm a LINQ Marine. Irate, are you still doing your part?
I don't know if our is
Hey, what was that
King's
question?
online today.
The question that we had about the llama AMM Hawthorne. I didn't see who asked it. I just maybe just a kind of a broad question about it. Use cases for the llama AMM. I try not to like confuse like our llamas versus the that one, Gerrit. But what do you think about like new use cases for that for the AMM?
Could you catch me up? I might have missed what's llama AMM.
Oh, it's in your
the when llamas.
No, like in your in one of your letters, you talked about that. Actually in the last letter, right? It was like there was a conversation.
The liquidation, a mechanism for CurveUSD
llama.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the CurveUSD liquidation technique. Is that what that is, or logic?
Okay. No, that's fine. I thought you were talking about like the when llamas were building your own AMM, and I was really excited because I wanted to see the llama AMM.
Oh yeah, I lied about that like 6 months ago. Yeah, that wasn't real.
Well, when llamas AMM?
When AMM?
No, like frankly, so Mitch keeps like giving free money in terms of like dev alpha, right? Like Mitch released Curve V2, and if like the marketplace of ideas was efficient, like a lot of people would have launched competing we would have like taken that source code and try and like relaunch it themselves to try and capture market share, but no one did. So like Curve just kind of like owns this like V2 concept. Same thing with this like self-liquidation concept. Like Curve has built this incredibly like robust stablecoin infrastructure, and it's a mechanism that's much friendlier. And if no one is going to like pick it up and run with it, like that, then Mitch has already hinted that he's going to release like isolated lending markets, basically like the exact same thing. So it's like free money because competitors are like not big brained enough to understand exactly what's going on. So the Llama LLAMMA is basically like each of the like each of the so the way that CurveUSD works, right, is like there is only two ways you could mint it by supplying collateral and minting CurveUSD, but then separately there's the 4 peg keeper pools, which is USDC CurveUSD, USDT CurveUSD, TUSD CurveUSD, and blank GUSD. No, not GUSD.
The Gemini dollar.
Paxos. No, Paxos USD. So those 4 are like special pools that the peg keepers are allowed to mint CurveUSD and deposit into these pools to try and basically trade towards a profit. So as these pools become like imbalanced one or the other direction, it's entirely to basically mint CurveUSD into the pools and then buy it back and sell it to try and capture profit.
Okay, I was referring to that image I sent. Oh yeah, I just pasted it from your letter.
Sorry. So the llama system is basically like each of these markets. So if you have a WBTC to CurveUSD market, that is itself an AMM. That is itself like a pool that can be arbitraged between WBTC and CurveUSD. So as people like basically what's going on is as you supply collateral, which gets carved up into all these different bands. So the typical is like you supply, let's say, 1 Bitcoin, that gets carved up into 1/10 of a Bitcoin at different price bands. As the price moves into and out bands, your collateral is available to be traded. So because these bands are fairly narrow, like it's a fairly like narrow sliced AMM, where like if the price is moving too much in the other direction, there's gonna be like different collaterals put up. But it's proven to be a very like efficient and very elegant system for kind of having this like soft liquidation feature where as the price dips, it's just basically like sweeping through your collateral price and arbitrageurs are taking profit, but in the process converting your into Curve USD, which has like led to some like kind of wild situations where people, for example, like could see the price dip, but they might actually see their portfolio value is slightly ahead because the collateral was converted at this higher price.
Yeah, it's like it's scaling you out of the position, or scaling you into Curve USD.
Right. And then where people actually end up getting like hard liquidated is sometimes like on the way back up, not the way back down. Because as the price dips, like they're okay, but then the price shoots back up, and because there is a trading fee that's applied as they kind of like sweep through these bands, like the collateral shrinks ever so slightly, and if you're like right up at the bleed, can trigger that could trigger a hard liquidation where you lose it all.
And Mitch was trying to get hard liquidated, like he was doing that test drive on it, like trying to force himself out on one of them. That was pretty cool. Like, yeah, a couple months ago, whatever. So I guess then what you said about it being wrapped Bitcoin versus Curve USD in one of those AMM contracts, you could effectively put anything on the other side. That's the dream, right? Is that we could put we could tokenize or be able to borrow against like the llama NFTs, like just as an example. I mean, it's just kind of just a wild example out here. Like be able to put up a llama NFT and then be able to borrow Curve USD against them and have a band, right?
Yeah, presuming the DAO approves it.
Well, that's not going to be a problem with you on board.
I'll do what I can, but you know the Curve governance is like very very weighted to a small group of people. That's not me. Like I have like 300 VECRV something.
It's the opposite of me. It's like.
But there'll be some interesting design considerations here, right? Because they wouldn't be able to support an ERC 721 right out.
Right.
It would need like some sort of adapter to be able to use. You know, it needs a ERC20 token as collateral.
Yeah, you can't soft liquidate, and you can't soft liquidate an NFT. Like you can't just take out shards of it, right?
Well, what you could do is you can do a wrapper, so you can have like a pretty simple contract that basically people deposit llama, and they get back, let's say, 10 to the 18th tokens, and then you could always buy back a llama from the pool. So you'd end up with like the quote unquote floor llamas. I don't know such a thing. More llamas that no one wants would get put into the this contract. Because people are like, oh, I don't care if my llama's interchangeable with all the other ones. Like, I'll toss it in and get the tokens. But if you have a rare llama, you wouldn't really want to do that, unless your wrapper contract like somehow like took rarity into account and paid more for like rarer llamas in the thing.
I think it would just be mostly floor, like a pseudo pool at the beginning.
But presuming you do that, then you would have an ERC20 token, which sort of traded at the lowest floor.
So it's Litra, Hawthorne.
Yes.
This is what Litra is doing, like specifically.
This is what they're doing. Yeah, they're about to go to mainnet. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got it ready to roll. We're just going to need your nod, Gerrit, if you can give us the twist the arm in the back room.
I'll definitely support it, but like
and then
my support is
when bribes. Like, when do I get bribes on my llamas?
Let me think.
That's the big question, I think.
When burbs?
So again, I'm poor, so I can't do much, but I can like direct my few hundred VECRV for some gauge, which might give people a few pennies here or there. No, I think it'd be super cool. Like if you do get the like wrapped version of the llamas, then you could then you can go ahead and list it and have a lot of fun.
Okay, we worked
like
backwards.
Wrapping an ERC.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it looks like you're wrapping ERC 721 to modified ERC 721, so even that's not going to quite work.
Yeah, so we deployed a couple of badges with a project that we got in touch with from a Mr. Block. That's they're gonna do that they're gonna convert 721s to ERC 20s and pool them on a
Nice.
curve. Yeah, we did a couple of badges to test it out on a test net, and they're supposed to be launching in this quarter. I don't know exactly when. But yeah, it's a pretty cool experiment that I'm kind of curious to see what the appetite is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not difficult to do. So we have the technology built in for some NPCers contracts that do this. If you'd like to glance over those,
Sweet.
because NPCs lend themselves well to it, because NPCs are basically ERC20 tokens in that they're all like, completely fungible. Llamas, like, it's like a tougher like sell because each llama is individual and it's beautiful in its own special way. It's like I almost don't want to see them wrapped, but if you wanna have fun with curve pools, then you kind of have to force some llamas through the wood chipper.
Yeah. The backwards burn mechanism. If there's something I love nothing more than a good burn. Okay, so I'm going to go back up to the top now and ask you the question I was supposed to ask you at the very beginning instead of like immediately launching into friend tech shilling. From my show notes. So I need to ask, like, we're so deep in the weeds and we're so the 25 of us that are on the call and the few people that are going to listen to it, like we are so like zoomed in on Curve, and like we all know way too much and it's confusing sometimes. I wanted to get you to zoom out and give us like a top-down view of like where you see the health and the future of Curve and its reach and like fingers out throughout the other platforms. Big question. Sorry, I know that's like an hour.
No, it's a really good question. So like I think anyone who is stuck here in this like bear market knows that like this is not like the best time to be in crypto, right? Like our industry is kind of a dumpster fire. We're not seeing liquidity flowing into the system, and then just generally like the macro conditions are like atrocious, right? Like nothing but nothing but like headwinds against all of us here in this industry. So very impressed by all the people who are still here. Like, I've seen enough cycles to know that like we're gonna make it. Like anyone who's able to like stick it through however long it takes for the next bull. We know that a bull run will come at some point, right? Like markets are cyclical. So unless crypto is just a dead technology, which I don't see any indications that's true, then we should expect that things are gonna like rebound shortly. So I think that Curve is going to have like a pretty big part in all that. I think that Curve is going to like find new interesting ways of like biting off market share. So and then like if you look at Project Mariana, like you can get a good sense of like what the kind of big 30,000 foot view is. I hate to do this. I have to put you on hold for like 1 second. Someone's at the door.
Just got rugged by the pizza delivery man, Hawthorne. Well,
So
it's been a good call. I guess I got to talk to Panda now.
I know. What is Panda's curve bull case?
And go. Considering that you're the co-founder of the Llama NFT project Panda and the acting CEO, I would appreciate it if you have a little more input into this organization.
I am back.
Oh, good. Thank God. Okay.
So, I don't quite know where, what I missed while I was like answering the door. But like Project Mariana, like I think hints at like how quickly you could see massive upside for Curve. So Project Mariana is the BIS is looking at like facilitating settlements between various CBDCs. They're partnered with several different like banks across the world. This is a multi-trillion-dollar industry, and if Curve started doing stuff like this on chain, because people start using like cryptocurrency more broadly, like you would see like trillions of dollars in TVL, and you can imagine, extrapolate all the numbers Curve is doing. That we'd all be eating steak under such scenarios. We don't know that like they're gonna actually use Curve tools in the way that like we're familiar with, like bribing and playing all the tokenomics games. But even that said, like if they start using Curve technology, like it's not a difficult stretch to imagine others would start to use the free and publicly available technology that Curve has like listed for anyone to use. So my short way of saying that is like I expect we'll see another bull market at some point in the future, and when that does, you're gonna be very happy that you stuck around.
When did you first get into crypto, Gerrit?
2014.
Cool. So
back then it was still a lot of very brilliant people in the space, but it was also a bit of a graveyard in terms of activity relative to today. So this is before, like, as Ethereum was launching and Bitcoin was the only game in town, and there was like a surprisingly robust suite of Bitcoin products. But then since then, like, Ethereum launched and like DeFi started to take off in a real way around like the turn of this past decade. And since then, like cryptocurrency is starting to resemble more the early days of the internet as opposed to like the dial-up era of the internet.
Mm-hmm. So, like, as the old saying goes, bull runs begin in the app a layer. Are you looking at any apps that feel as interesting and novel as like liquidity mining in 2018?
So I got to admit, I kind of like am a little bit obsessed with usually friend tech. So we made
Well.
So I don't like. I'll caveat this by saying I don't know if friend tech will ultimately be the winner. It's the first time, in my opinion, we've seen like a really true innovation in this kind of space of social media. It's a natural fit for cryptocurrency, in my opinion. This kind of mechanic of like buying and selling stores and buying and selling access. It makes sense. It's like a different paradigm from Twitter, but Twitter itself was a different paradigm from Facebook, and Facebook was like Friendster, like MySpace Redux, but like they were all like a paradigm shift on what had come before. So it really feels like a paradigm shift, and I think that concept is going to like become very big, and it's probably the best chance we have of like getting mass adoption from normies.
Yeah, for sure. I love,
And I'd like to see
just like the mobile burst kind of movement. Yeah, I'm just curious. Who is using friend tech in the coolest way that you've come across?
let me see. So I think like the Llama Bro is super active on there and doing a fantastic job. So I definitely like if you haven't picked up a Llama Bro key, like Llama Bro is doing like a pretty phenomenal job. What else? DefiAdvisor has one like he thought he was late when he joined like a week or two ago, but he's consistently producing like really good content on there. I think it's still like early, but like for my sake, like I'm just investing in llamas, right? Like I wish I'd bought like two keys of all the llamas when I first did it, but like every time I get profits in the app, I just use it to buy up llamas, and that's been a very good strategy for me in terms of like now I have this like pretty cool feed, and now I have this like decent portfolio. Like my Llama portfolio is worth 1.2 Ethereum right now.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Cool. But okay, so I'm so like so like I am probably mid curving this, but Frentech to me it makes a lot of sense for like brands and like rock bands and sports teams and whatever with just that like inner circle. I'm kind of curious, like as just like as a person, is this a killer app to be able to like associate with like other circles and kind of become this larger entity? Is that kind of how you picture it?
Well, so this is why I was like very careful to say that like I'm not sure if Friendtech will be the killer app. So like 1 or 2 weeks ago, Alunara like rage quit Friendtech and pushed everyone towards PostTech, which is being built on Arbitrum. PostTech, which I also like tried out, like has a much better user interface by far. So they have it where like if you buy the person's keys, you get access to their private messages, but everyone also has access to those private messages too. So it's like more of a chat room if you're not like, as opposed to like a kind of like broadcast top down room where like whoever owns the room is shouting at the followers. Like everyone is kind of like able to partake in the conversation. And then separate from this, there's also a Twitter component, so you could still post messages that are publicly viewable. It's just you can only kind of slide into this like private backroom chat if you buy the keys. So like that's like, I just bring that up as an example of like it's not tough to think of like very simple tweaks to the Friendtech formula that can make it more usable and more functional towards something we've already seen.
I think the
Really expect.
I was gonna say I think the bonding curve mechanic in regards to a social interaction is like pretty genius. Like I think that's a really cool new mechanism that I haven't really come across before.
Yeah, and like to be clear, like the Friendtech mechanism, I thought like it was like just like you're buying like actual like NFTs or tokens or something. But it's not. You can only kind of like buy it and sell it to their specific bonding curves. Like I think someone could actually like build it atop curve pools or something, where it had its own kind of more like supply and demand set curves, as opposed to like the Friendtech like default bonding curve, and like that would be an easy innovation. Like, but it means that like if I buy your keys on Friendtech, I can't like sell them OTC to other people. I can't like trade them over the under the counter, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why they did that, but it would be like a much cooler platform if like I actually own the keys instead of they basically own the keys through their contract. So like it's not tough to imagine how like the formula could be easily improved upon. But just conceptually, like they're really onto something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I just with like apps that could spark a new part of crypto. I think I agree with you that they're onto something for sure. I've seen people kind of treat their rooms like Instagram, and I've also seen like artists use it how well I think as like a as a writer and content creator, like you're doing like a really cool things with it, and I think it'll be cool to keep watching it evolve.
The alpha room thing seems like to me like it's not. I'm not that interested in like paying for a high priced key to be able to go and get like some sort of pre-information before they trade or front run or whatever. The two things that I've liked so far on it has been your paywall, like peek behind the paywall concept, like your key holders get like a little preview or be able to see something that's usually paywalled. And then I've also been getting all the NFT drops from Slaughtermelon, and like every day he posts a link to, like, he randomizes the link, and then once a day posts a link for you to be able to go mint an NFT for free as one of the token holders. So there's like little perky things that are kind of cool that you could do on there.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I'm like you. I don't kind of play those games because they're just really tough to pay the right money to be in the right room, and it's questionable whether like it actually pays off. But to be clear, that is how a lot of the world works, right? Like if you pay to be in the right rooms, like I'm not even speaking of like friend tech rooms, just like in life, if you like are putting yourself in the right rooms, like you get the opportunities. And friend tech is kind of like the digital like equivalent of this. They're like people that will just spend like an obscene amount of money to have access to Discord groups where they think they might get some morsels of trading alpha.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the private Discord rooms.
Exactly. So I don't recommend anyone do that. I don't do that. But I just know that that is a real phenomenon that people do.
Yeah, we watched it almost play out with FTX got close to being the like front end to all of crypto in the US doing that strategy.
Yeah,
They blew up.
paying to be in the right room.
Yeah.
The room was the West Wing. The other thing about it's not really a big time like revenue generator for you, I'd imagine. Like if you're charging $5 a month or whatever, I don't even know what the fee is, your paywall fee, and then how are you going to be able to make that back on friend tech? Like you're probably have to buy a bunch of your keys right off the bat, right? And then be able to sell them off as you needed to raise some money or whatever. Or because the trading fees would work, but it'd have to be like massive volume. You'd have to be like buying and selling 20 of your keys a day, right?
Yeah, so I'm not trying to optimize friend tech for like money. Like I said before, like my plan with friend tech is any trading fees I earn, I'm reinvesting them back into buying llamas. So so at the moment I've earned like about 1 Ethereum worth of trading fees, and that's like entirely gone towards buying back llamas. If I somehow like spiked and like became like one of like the blue chip accounts or whatever on there, then I'd just continue buying the more expensive llamas that I can't afford at the moment.
So you're never going to see the
Great
money.
strategy.
It's a black hole.
Except I sold. Yeah, it's a black hole. Other than Alinara, I sold Alinara just because like Alinara like specifically rage quit.
Your one sale. You know what they say in a bear market? There's every sale is a good sale.
Yeah, and now I gotta Now, that means I have to report on my taxes. I sold one Alinara, and I look forward to explaining that to the IRS.
Incredible.
It couldn't be a better person to have tax issues with. Okay.
Yeah, I'm curious what your take is here, real quick, about real world assets. I've been watching that narrative sort of like pop up, and like Maker's been really trending up with that in these last couple months.
Yeah, so in my opinion, it's sort of like what we need to get DeFi back on track. So we've really been in this sort of doldrums because DeFi has like it used to 2 years ago, 3 years ago, yields were 0%. So of course people were looking for anything over that, and there was like a phenomenal like use case for DeFi. Test of the National Wireless Alert System. Okay.
Yeah, that just happened to me too.
Oh, have you guys ever seen Hawthorne and Gerrit separately in the same room? Both of your phones going off at the same time.
Who was at the door? Who was at the door?
Just tell us who it was.
That doesn't do a lot of good for anyone, does it?
Oh God, there's more. Okay, real world assets, and then also questions. Raise your hand if you want to talk to Gerrit.
Yeah. So like I think that the like we're going to start to see like DeFi's next wave come in from this kind of wave, this wave of RSAs. So we've got, SDI is doing very good. Frax V3 is launching today. They're going to be like using like a real world asset system. So like I just about guarantee that like, or I wouldn't just about guarantee, but I like no one has any interest in earning 5% on Curve when they can put their money in a treasury bill and earn 5% like the easy way that way. However, once you get the 5% yield like fairly safe on chain, and then you can kind of like use your like weird tokenomic Ponzi-nomics to get like that juice to 10%, like yield always speaks. There's going to be people that will take that risk. So I'm pretty sure that like the RWA thing is going to be a good thing in terms of like kickstarting DeFi. And I saw some of the comments point out that like it actually is a bull market in DeFi again, if you know where to look, which I agree with. Like there is like starting to be like this resurgence of like yield farming and like the kind of classic DeFi apps that we've seen. So I think it's actually like it is a good time if you are still here, relatively speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Good time if you're on Kanto. I mean, I said I wouldn't let anybody talk about it, but I'm just going to go ahead and lift that ban. If you want to talk about Kanto, you can. I know Gerrit's a long necker, a proud long necker from the beginning.
I am?
No, no, it's just I was just going to make it up again. Everything I say is a lie. They're all
Just
crying.
trying to get banned.
They're all crying because they want me to talk about their best performing token of the last like 6 months.
Well, I can't comment.
Nowhere to look. All right, any questions for Gerrit? We're coming up on the hour and a half mark, and I'm not going to make you talk for 2 straight hours, Gerrit.
No, I kind of appreciate it because I used to. I don't know if anyone here is old enough to remember llama parties.
Oh yeah, I
doing
love those
pretty regularly, and it became like I did it initially because I was like trying to make less work for myself. I was like, oh yeah, if I just talk to someone for an hour, it should be easier. It ended up being way tougher. So I appreciate how tough it could be to like sit here and chat for a few hours with people, no matter how fascinating it is.
Yeah, and I mean, I know a lot of us in this room and on this call spent the last cycle reading your newsletter. So it's always like it's always fantastic to get to talk to you, and yeah, it's kind of surreal, to be honest.
Well, thank you. I don't it always feels weird when when people say like things like I'm hearing much more often that like people are like, oh yes, I got into X, Y, or Z because of my newsletter or something, and it just makes me feel like really old because it feels like I just started writing this newsletter yesterday in my in my brain, and all of a sudden it's like I guess it's been like years at this point, which is kind of surreal to think about.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, one last quick question to put you in the hot seat here. So KP's been talking about renaming his project JPage. It sounds a little bit too much like an app that everyone uses to hook up on. So he's been contemplating trying to do something else. What would you name it?
Oh gosh,
You know enough about it. Can I explain it? It's a little. Remember the GIF with the guy with the all the things on the wall,
yeah.
Charlie Day. That's me.
No, I know enough about it, but just why don't you go ahead and like explain it just to buy me time to think of something or type something quickly into ChatGPT.
Still some time here. Okay. Well, while I'm talking, my phone Amber Alert's going to go off. Apparently, the Amber Alert's for Panda because he talked right at the beginning of the call. And I haven't heard a freaking word out of him for an hour and a half. Turns out he's abducted. He's in the back of a silver
Oh, dear.
1996 Ford Windstar. JPage, Wrap DRC 21s. Hold on, I got to think about all the other things. The Roombas. Yeah, you got the little NFTs of the little Japanese guys. Still not. I can't just rip on KP for like 10 minutes straight. That's not fair.
But yeah, I think Kate he is launching like a little scrappy development group. It will be like a little tokenized just a factory of cool dApps. He's launched a couple projects. He has Rumas and just trying to heist any cool names you might have. You've been writing really good headlines on your newsletter for like 2.5 years straight. So unless that's all AI.
No, the AI does a pretty bad job of it still. I'll give it some thought. Nothing's like popping right to mind. But let me take like a few minutes. Let me think about it offline and get back.
Okay,
It's a
just
fun
trying to put you in the hot seat just at the end here. But
Who won?
that's totally fine.
Who won the Curve USD contest to make the icon for it?
Oh shoot! So it was going to be me.
But you got rugged.
Well, I didn't even like the token what I came up with. Like I just took the Curve rainbow logo and turned it green.
Yeah, it was just the green one, right? You just made it green on black.
And then and then like people were saying it looks like Shrek's ears. So I was like really surprised that was the winning one. But then I think it was Charlie OX Llama came through and like commissioned or like produced one, that's the one that we have now, and I have to admit it's a lot better. So I'm pretty happy.
Shrek's dick. All right, thank you for coming on, Gerrit, and spending an hour and a half of your Wednesday with us.
Before we bounce, why don't I bring this all back full circle? We talked a bit about like Leviathan, which is this kind of side project that myself, DefiAdvisor, and a few other people are like have been like putting a lot of time into, because like that is I think that as like a project it's something that's bigger than me. It's bigger than any of the people like on the team. In my opinion, it's not unfortunately on Brave, but you can get there by if you go to leviathannews.xyz. That's like the very basic splash page I put up that kind of shows some of the like analytics, the top headlines based on the current analytics. But we have like really big plans to expand it out. As DefiAdvisor was saying in the chat, like I came up with the vision for this, but like this is like DefiAdvisor and Sam and others regularly put in way more work than me in terms of like getting out like high quality headlines and getting very high quality like live stream out and about. So actually DefiAdvisor is now a speaker, so he can also like speak to some of this. So I I'm bringing this all up because pretty soon we would like to like capitalize on some of the momentum we've been building and actually like fundraise and put together like paid products with or without like tokenomics behind it for Leviathan News. And we'd really like to get feedback from the community as we go through this process. So if you have experience with like fundraising, putting together pitch decks, it would be great to talk. If you have experience with like building out tokenomics, it would be great to talk. If you just have like thoughts as to like the quality of the headlines and how we can ensure that we like continue to like deliver really high quality information with a great signal to noise filter, like please like be in touch. Like there is like so much potential for what we could do with it, and like with all these things, like I want to move it to a point where like it's just like it becomes its own like self-sustaining organism all by itself, and it's like very close to doing that. So DefiAdvisor, you're like you've been invoked. Why don't you let me
What's
know what I
up?
missed?
What's up? What's up? Great to be on, guys. First of all, was really fun catching most of the episode. I wasn't available to listen all the time, but at least some of it. Definitely great, great vibe. And really enjoy what you guys are doing here in the Llama community. And really appreciate Gerrit. First for like I said, he's the man who actually came up with the vision to do Leviathan. He talked to me and a few other people like Sam and others. And honestly, it's been an amazing journey and quite a lot of fun. Actually, this I think we've been doing it for probably 6 or 7 months now, Gerrit, right?
Yeah, I think it's been 6 full months.
And
Congratulations, you guys. That's amazing.
thanks a lot, man. And really, I think the amount of new connections and like just meeting so many people from the industry and really getting such positive feedbacks from the industry. Because to be honest, ever since the start, people were really showing us that they like this kind of content, and they feel that we're people from like in a way within the industry who actually wants to just cover or at least begin to cover some of the great stuff that all you guys are building, and we're all so mesmerized by. So for sure, it's been a whole lot of fun. It's challenging, but also it's very rewarding. Even in even so far, just by getting to know so many people and getting so much more entrenched and powerful, I would even say in a way within the industry because of all these new connections and access to so many great builders and investors and stuff. And I think most of all, I want to use this opportunity to first of all thank Gerrit. He has a much bigger role in all this operation than you guys just see, because you just, I guess, mostly see us on the streams. But he also built the newsroom itself and the bots that we use to submit the headlines on Telegram and then on Twitter. And he really has done some incredible job behind the scenes with some of his abilities. And I think that I can speak on one specific topic in the name of both of us, of both of us. That for sure, guys. Above all, we'd like to hear your feedback, opinions, whatever. But above all, we really want you to come over and feel free to participate and contribute. And I can tell you that a lot of the, first of all, the ad not the headline submission process, we really want to push it as much as we can to the community, because the community is always online. And if we really want to deliver some news first, if we, the more representatives that we have within the community that can quickly submit a new story and a headline, the quicker that we can judge it and rule it and decide if we want to put the news out. So really, if you have any kind of desire or curiosity about participating, and if you think that you can contribute on any aspect, feel free to approach me, to approach Gerrit, to approach us on our newsroom, or ask for us for the link. We're also considering creating like a Discord hub for the community. And like Gerrit said, I really think we're just at the tip of the edge of what we're trying to do with Leviathan. I think we really hope to make it both a community hub and a media outlet that really serves as many sectors as possible within our industries. Because we, like for example, now our content is mostly for the intermediate or advanced public, but we also want to try and make some content which is easier for new people to get engaged with and like start understanding stuff. And there's a whole lot of process there, and the thing we probably need most of all is people who want to do stuff and actually have the energy and capacity to participate and contribute. And if you have any kind of desires, just let us know. We're assembling some interns now for an intern program where all kinds of people can contribute with their knowledge. We just had Christopher Yak. He's called. He has a channel called Arbitrum Archives, and I've known him for a while. I've shared his content on my newsletter when I was more active in doing it. I should get back to it pretty soon, by the way. But he's become like an official intern for us. He started doing time steps. He's starting to work on all kinds of video stuff, and really, there's so much to do. And we just want to be able to do it together as a community and to serve the community. And we definitely believe that we will find many ways to also leverage on that and monetize it, both for us as the core team, but for every other contributor that's going to be on. And thanks a lot for having me, guys. A lot. Thanks for the platform.
Of course. So number one for you guys is follow everything, right? Like to help get on your Twitter page, follow Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, go to Spotify and sub for the for the podcast. And then where are you guys going to be able to? Where can we help you generate revenue? It's always my question. Like, can I click on ads? Can I go do reviews? Can I do Spotify reviews? Like, what pushes some sort of form of revenue to you guys?
So we're pre-revenue at the moment because you never want to be fundraising with revenue.
Oh, you're pre-rich.
Revenue.
Okay.
We're pre-rich, exactly.
Pre-rich. When you can maybe call it pre-rich.
That's the best place to be, I think.
But definitely the way that we can help is we got to get our YouTube past 1,000 followers before we can be eligible for the monetization. So that's like the one we really focus on. The Telegram is the one that's like growing the fastest because like the highest quality content. Where you all could help is like DM DefiAdvisor or me directly, because we have like our organizing Telegram group, which some people here like who have been guests on the Llamas were like pretty frequently guests on our pod live stream, like have access to this like behind the scenes Telegram group, let's call it, where like we get into brainstorming and like all the operations, and it like you get to see the guts of how this thing is put together. And we're doing some cool stuff there. Like we're building out ways to like track people's contributions in terms of like submitting and editing headlines, and using this to like award to be have a nice record collected should like we want to like apportion some sort of like tokenomics to people or something like that. So there's like ways that we can like recognize people's contributions.
This is going under the financial advice section. Okay.
No, not financial advice. Any tokens would be completely worthless, everyone knows. But
yes. In any event,
all tokens are just for a fun time. It's all for the memes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go. Thank you, Gerrit. I'm gonna go kill this recording and I have to go pick up children at the school. But I don't have to end the call, so I'm just gonna go drop off the recording. And thank you, guys.
Thank you for having me. It's a lot of fun.
I appreciate you guys. You guys are doing awesome work. I'm the media gets crypto really wrong, so it's awesome to have some crypto natives who are going to create the next huge network. We are here for that.
Thanks a lot for that, man. Appreciate it a lot.